are hypotheses that are imaginary or hypotheses that are actually real, and that's effectively what I'm saying. So the claims that are made by theists exist in the natural world and therefore fall under the purview of science. That's in a nutshell what I'm saying.
Okay, so would angels come under that? Would you say that science can prove angels?
Well, in terms of angels, I don't necessarily know. It depends on what your claim is about angels. If you're saying that angels can enter into the natural world, then by all means, yeah, it falls under the purview of science.
Carlos, can I just ask you a quick question? Say that there were a whole group of people that did pray and actually their prayers got answered. Somebody was sick and they got better. Could science simply say, well, that's maybe quantum entanglement because our consciousness and everything is somehow intertwined and we don't know how, but this could just be a case of quantum entanglement. These people willed something to happen. They effectively worked with or interfered with, the quantum haze around them or whatever, and somehow they managed to do this. Science would always come up with a physical explanation, and at times it could be, Carlos, a physical explanation actually that could never be disproved or proved, for example. And so I think that's the point, Carlos. You see, that what we're trying to say here is that, and I think this is where perhaps sometimes the debate does get stuck in this sort of in this realm of ambiguity and difficulty. So for me, for example, as a Muslim, it's not just about logical or philosophical arguments that convince me of a creator or convince me of the prophet or convince me that angels exist, for example. For Muslims or for people who believe, who are theists, but certainly for us Muslims, speaking for us, I would say it's a multifaceted approach to believing in the creator, so that we have physical things that we can look at, tangible, that we can evaluate the claims of. So, for example, the Quran. We can look at the history, for example, of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the seerah. We can look at things within the seerah. All of these things put together, and of course, using one's reason as well. Because if one looks at, for example, as I say, the universe, looks at matter, looks at energy, it's a rational question. It's an obvious, intuitive question to ask, where did this come from? And to have a infinite material series of causes is not rational to the average person, I would suggest. And that would not be a reasonable explanation. So it's about using your reason, but it's also about looking at things that are perhaps more tangible rather than just a philosophical argument, looking at the Quran, looking at the Hadith, looking at the life of the Prophet, looking at the prophecies within it, looking at the way in which the Quran is constructed and the evidences for its divinity there. So there's, as I said to you, it's not just one, it's not like a one-hit wonder. It's not just like a one thing that we sort of look at to come to a conclusion on God and on the metaphysical sense of our reality.
Jazakallah khair, Abbas. That was a really interesting